Hi, this is Larry, back with you again on the TOPUCU podcast. The only person you cheat is you. I'm here with Norm, the founder of TOPUCU, and we're just still talking a little bit about the different segments of folks that TOPUCU really works well with and is aimed at. Today, we'd just like to talk about education and some of the successes that TOPUCU has had with helping particularly younger children, high school, teenage children, and their education and why it's so important. We know that there is kind of a failure, if you will, in the education system with kids dropping out, not succeeding. And I think the past few years with the whole pandemic and all of the learning loss that happened there is just something that's it's pretty tragic. And I think it's something that's not really being covered very well by mainstream media and others. Our heart kind of breaks about that when you look at the state that high school kids are going through and the challenges that they're facing, but then we see a flip side. We see that when TOPUCU is in those same environments, we see these young people who are succeeding, and we just want to talk a little bit about that today.
So, is there a need for TOPUCU in high schools for sure? And the answer I'm answering myself is yes. And here's the deal. So if somebody's raised in the suburb, do they need TOPUCU? Probably do, in my opinion. But the odds are typically better that they've been mentored and trained by somebody. And we take a look at life, and we take a look at people that have challenges in life, and we all do, but I'm talking about major challenges. Many times it's because they were never, again, taught these rules, how the game of life is played. I used to always hear, growing up in a dysfunctional family and having challenges with the way I was raised and what I was taught and so forth, which I'm being facetious, which was nothing. There was no mentoring. There was no understanding of how the game of life is played. And I used to always hear this one quote, and the quote was, well, Norm, winners win, losers lose. Winners win because they do all the things losers don't do. And I thought, that's pretty depressing. And because I felt like I was a loser. I was acting like a loser. I was, raised by somebody with an addiction to alcohol that, had challenges with it. We talked before about, brothers and so forth. The reality is this. Until somebody teaches me how to play the game of life, and teaches me the rules and the principles of the game of life, and mentors me and shows me, it's really not fair to say winners win, losers lose. That could be a true statement, but it's really not fair because somebody else has somebody that's taught them, and yet when a lot of people we deal with TOPUCU have never had that opportunity to have that conversation where, back in the day, they would say things like, did you have that conversation on leaning on the fence post with your father, and or your mother with the daughter, and where they taught you, how the game of life is played. There are rules, and yet almost everybody doesn't know them. So high schools are a great area where we have an opportunity to tap into that brain and to be able to show them and teach them, again, TOPUCU, so that they can now have an opportunity to transform their thinking and change their life.
Yeah, even as you were saying that, I was thinking about what kind of differentiates the folks who maybe had a mentor and those who maybe didn't, and some of the tools. And one of the tools that really stood out in my own life was the fact that I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have the puzzle box. So in one of the lessons, we talk about the puzzle box and how when you break a puzzle out, it's got 1,000 pieces. We throw all the pieces on the table. And most folks, when they start at the edges, the corners, they build the edges. And then what do? How do they figure out where the green goes, where the blue goes, where the yellow's at, and all these things? Well, they look at the box. And the box guides them as they put the pieces in place. Well, I'm going to push all the greens up here because there's a tree in the corner. So I know these are leaves. Yep. And so that's how I build the puzzle. And for me, growing up, I didn't have a puzzle box. I didn't have a vision of how and where I was going to go. There was no expectation that I was going to go to college, where folks that have that mentoring, they have this expectation built in. There's not really a question of whether I'll go to college, or someone who grew up in a trades family. They own a plumbing business. The son, is being guided towards that, hey, you can be a plumber. You can have your own business. You can be part of our business now, where it was dad's business. Now it's going to be father and son business. So they have a picture, and the steps that they're taking in their life are leading them towards this eventual goal that's out there. And folks that don't have that, unfortunately, they're just pointed towards nowhere. And if you're pointed towards nowhere, you're probably going to reach it. You're probably going to get nowhere.
Well, exactly. And that's been one of the neat, benefits of doing TOPUCU in the schools we're in, and we want to be in a lot more, obviously. But the idea that now they've been taught these principles. For example, if I'm going to do homework, which I didn't do any, so I feel bad, lecturing now maybe about people doing homework. That was one of my big downfalls in high school. But, can I stay motivated while I'm doing that? So the answer is you can, if you understand what motivation is, if you can understand how to stay internally motivated. One of the tools we talk about in lesson number 2 is what are the odds? And that's basically the understanding of motivation. And everybody likes external motivation, where you get the pat in the back and you've done something and you're praised, or you've gotten good grades in school and somebody's congratulating you. But eventually, when you're getting straight A's forever, I guess, and never can't relate to that, but the praise stops. So we always talk about having internal motivation, where what are you doing when nobody's watching? And then we have these scales of motivation that are on the website, and you can check that out. But the scales of motivation help you understand just to put in hard work so that you can increase your odds to have a success. So the tools that we have will help them stay motivated to go do the things they don't want to do, again, to become who they want to become, and have an opportunity to build out that puzzle box, build out that picture. Did you ever see the movie The Accountant?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies. I don't know why, but I thought it was so cool that this guy had this challenge and he could do all this stuff. But in the beginning, they show him as a young kid putting together a puzzle. And he was actually putting it together without a picture. I mean, it was crazy. But anyhow, I digress. So having the puzzle box with the picture is a key element, and that actually is visualization, which is lesson number 5. But you have to have this vision to be able to do, again, what you don't want to do. So that's what you use, which was cool. And that's one of the things we do in schools. They learn that principle of visualizing where they want to be, and it doesn't have to be college. One of the things we work on big time is trying to help people understand, should I or should I not go to college?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think when you start to understand at least that you have an idea of what your future, what you want it to look like, I mean, it helps in so many different ways. And then to have the tools to build towards that. And last time you mentioned the finisher program, and part of that is building a mission statement. And the mission statement is accompanied by goals, the goals that will help you become the person of your mission. And you start to set these short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And that one that I like, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, that thing that seems so far out there that you may never reach it, but you're always have in mind these different steps that you're taking to become that person of your mission. And that's just exciting, especially when we're talking about young people that so often are just thinking about today. What's today hold? There's no thought of what's ahead. And, I've got a nephew, and I ask him questions like this, and he just has a blank stare, and he just looks at me, and he, like, tomorrow? Yeah. Tomorrow? Yeah. That seems so far away. But it's sad when your today turns into today, and today, and then you're his age, you're 35 years old, and you're still just living for today.
Yep. Even in the movie Groundhog Day, Bill Murray learned every day that came back the same day. He learned something new that day to eventually become a concert pianist and all kinds of crazy stuff. So you got to get better every day. But
your movie references are just on point in this episode.
So one of my favorite stories, if we've got time, is
Yeah.
Dr. Ben Carson. Check him out, Google him. It's just an amazing story. But raised in inner city Detroit, and I'm not talking like inner city Detroit. I'm talking like inner city Detroit. He's got a book out. I think it's called Gifted Hands or something, and a movie too. But when he was younger, he was getting in trouble all the time. He and his brother, and single mother, single parent mom, and things just weren't there. I mean, it was just this going to be a repetitive, generational curse type thing, where being divorced or whatever happened. I'm not sure about that part, but she worked for a professor, is my understanding, as a housekeeper. And my understanding is one day she was in the library and she was actually looking at a book, and the professor came in. She put it down real quick because she was concerned she was going to get in trouble. And the professor said, "You want to borrow that book?" She said, "No, I'd like to learn how to read that book." And he ended up, again, my understanding is teaching her how to read. But in addition to that, he taught her how to mentor the kids and how to change the routine and how to help them understand that if you want to have this vision to become something better, you've got to change the routine, use the tools that are universal. TOPUCU's universal principles. It's not, they've been around for millennia. Champions have used them forever. It's just that we were able to condense them into this program.
Yep.
And they started with, you're now going to do schoolwork after you get home. Then you earn the right through the routine of schoolwork to go out and play. Then come in for dinner, do some more schoolwork, watch a little TV. Well, the conclusion, we could do the big long story, but the conclusion is, top in his class at University of Michigan, John Hopkins University medical degree, a brain surgeon to beat the band, put together the first surgical team that separated twins that were conjoined at the top of their head without having damage to either of them, which is the first time, my understanding is, ever in history. And eventually when they brought him a teenage girl from Germany, I think it was Germany, that was struggling with epilepsy, and she was literally probably going to die from it. He figured out that you can cut half the brain out, do a hemistectomy, and the other half the brain would eventually take over, and you could have a normal life,
Wow.
which is done all over the world now. This is an inner city, not mentored, not trained, not taught how the rules are played person that mom was able to figure out through the help of the professor how to teach them. And TOPUCU's a mentoring program to these kids, is what it really is. Those that never had that opportunity to have somebody, again, over the fence post, show them how the game of life is played, TOPUCU's going to teach them.
Yeah. Wow. That's a phenomenal story. And one of the things that's amazing to me is how many people TOPUCU has affected. And in this particular sector, TOPUCU has been involved in a number of schools with a lot of different young people. And so right now what we're going to do is we're just going to show you a quick video that's going to have some testimonials on it from some kids that have went through TOPUCU and the effect that it's had on them. So we'll be right back. Just enjoy this testimonial.
There was times that I was like, this is hard. I didn't really want to do it. But then as I looked at the word TOPUCU, I said, the only person I'm teaching is myself, so I need to put the work in to succeed in life.
Me using TOPUCU every day, we go into class, I just sit there and as I'm listening to the video, it's like it makes you want to do good things and it makes you want to do better things. It makes you just want to be a better person.
If you think about it, like if you really try to cheat, the only person you cheat is yourself. Like if I'm working out and I'm supposed to do like 10 down and backs, but I only do 7, I'm not making myself a better person by only doing 7. I'm just cheating myself.
It allowed me to really scope out myself, and it allowed me to really break my life up into individual pieces and realize what part of my life needs work and what parts am I okay in and that I excel the best in.
What a tool to use to help set a table for children and people to learn from, to have a system of education. It's not a program, it's a system, that you can use to really raise people and to impact them, to inspire them to be great people and to navigate through the world. I think the world has moved so fast, they forgot about these principles. So we use these principles every day, and it's just a good part of the system to be able to educate, and it's the most positive thing, or necessary thing that you need in education.
It made me think about like more of my purpose. Like, I would say it made me go deeper into like what I actually was doing.
TOPUCU makes me want to go home and do homework. Like, makes me want to do better, be better, accomplish things.
TOPUCU helps you realize you have decisions to make, and whichever decision you make determines your outcome.
These past months, I've already used TOPUCU, and like I've changed like some of the things that I wanted to change, like at home, how I am with my family, how I am with schoolwork. Like, I'm already changing, so I can't imagine like what I'll change like once I get, you know, older, get to do bigger, better things. Like, I'm always going to remember it.
After going through TOPUCU, you really, really see it in yourself and in everyone else.
So TOPUCU has helped me really grasp the idea of weighing things out.
It's hard, it's not easy, but don't give up. Like, if you're really motivated to do it, you'll see change.
Going through TOPUCU, it really has an impact.
You have to make your own decisions to determine what you're going to be. And that's one of the main things TOPUCU teaches you, is the amount of hard work you put into anything is the payoffs you're going to get. You can't say, well, I want to be a millionaire, and then you're like, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I just want it to happen. That's not how things work. You have to put in the hard work, and that's what TOPUCU means.
It shows you what you need to do to become the person you want to become.
Wow, that's incredible. Isn't that incredible?
It is, and it's so rewarding. You know, the idea that we can help somebody learn again for the umpteenth time in this podcast, and we'll hear it till we're done, you know, the opportunity to help them transform their thinking so that they can then do the hard work. I mean, TOPUCU is strictly the primer before you put paint in the wall. TOPUCU makes things stick. It's warming, it's teaching somebody how to warm up before they stretch, so to speak. And this is, once they learn how to, as they just said in the testimonials, once they learn to control their thinking, then they're able to get their body to do what it doesn't want to do, which means do all the hard work and do the things you don't want to. So yeah, it's very rewarding, and we're getting a lot of traction in that sector. Just FYI. And we're looking forward to a project. I'll do a little teaser down the road. We're going to have a project where we're going to be able to have parents have their high school seniors go through TOPUCU to be able to make a better decision on should they go to college or not. I mean, the dropout rate in college is insane.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of wasted money. The freshman year dropout rate is really ridiculous, and we'll get to that in a future podcast down the road.
Yeah, that's so many different issues that young people are facing, and fortunately, TOPUCU is in a great place to help. These principles, again, are principles that work. They just do. If you pick something up and drop it, it's going to fall to the ground, and that's just gravity. There's no way around it. There's no way to change it. It just works like that. And these principles that we're talking about, they're universal principles that work. It's not hocus pocus. It's not magic. It's not some easy solution to find this transformation. This transformation is going to come through hard work. It's going to come through self-discipline. It's going to be following these principles. And like you said earlier, I wish that I would have knew these principles when I was a teenager, when I was in high school. Much like you, I sloughed off. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. It wasn't because I wasn't capable of it. I was fully capable of it, but I just didn't have a vision for my life and how any of this stuff would impact it. And later on in life, when I did, went to college, I did extremely well in college. You're like, well, how did you not complete high school but did extremely well in college? Well, because I knew that was a pathway to that picture on the puzzle box of becoming the person that I've always wanted to become. And that's what TOPUCU is about. It's, doing that hard work to become that person of your mission statement.
Yep. I would challenge our listener viewers to go to YouTube and type in the word TOPUCU in the search and look at the videos. There's a lot more than we just showed here regarding testimonials, and a lot from schools and students and so forth. So it's an opportunity to have them again learn the tools. So.
Absolutely. And we're going to be getting into more of those tools as we go forward. So we just really want to thank you again today for joining us on the TOPUCU podcast. The only person you cheat is you. If you'd like to learn more about it, or if you'd like to comment on what you heard today, or find out more information, ask any questions, just go to topucu.com, topucu.com, and you can get everything that you need from there. And we'd be happy to hear from you, glad to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And reach out to you and share whatever we can to help you in your transformation journey. Again, that's topucu.com. Thanks, Norm. It's been great, and just so excited about being in a position to reach out and help so many different people, so many different groups. We talked about the folks who are incarcerated. We talked about young people in schools. And when we come back, we're going to talk about another segment of people. I think we'll talk a little bit about the folks who are dealing with addictions and
Good idea.
and some of the things that TOPUCU is doing to help those.
Good. Sounds good. Looking forward to it.